We are live. So today I have George Brockman with Achosa Home Warranty. Is that how we say it? Achosa?
It's a chosa, but I
Oh,
often joke with realtors,
okay.
call it whatever you want as long as you write it. So
Yeah. Well, George, tell us a little bit about you. How'd you get into this home warranty business?
yeah, so it's a sounds too crazy to be true, but believe it or not, my entry into home warranty was the very first job in my entire professional career that I got where I didn't know somebody.
Okay.
So even my first part-time jobs as a high school and college kid, through my entire professional life, I always got introduced to somebody or had a lead on a job and got the interview, didn't necessarily get the job, but because of the introduction, but it was always referred to a job, right?
Yeah.
And I was in a business to business sales position in the banking industry, and it wasn't going great. It was okay, and I decided I'm gonna start looking, and I was just applying for things. Applied for it on LinkedIn. Didn't really think anything of it, and then like 4 months later, got a recruiter call, say, "Hey, if you're interested in this, we want to talk to you about it." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I mean, I have no idea what this is." And the funny part about that is when we were talking about the job and they talked about doing presentations and talking in front of people and doing things like this, I was terrified.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I could never get in front of a group of people and speak and talk and do those kinds of things. And so here we are 10 years later to a company, I switched companies one time. And yeah, so first job I ever got where I didn't really know anybody. So
There you go.
yeah.
So what did you do before home warranties?
So I spent about 8 years in cell phone retail sales.
Okay.
And to give you some context, when I started selling cell phones, there were flip phones with monochrome screens. And about the time I got out was about the time the iPhone was launched, around that
Okay.
time. So that was kind of the time frame so I saw a lot of technology changes, a lot of craziness, and then I went to business in the banking equipment for a little bit, and transactional selling of cell phones, and then banking equipment business to business. Totally different things.
Yeah.
But it helped prepare me for what we do now in this relationship driven business of home warranty.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your company, Achosa.
Achosa, yeah. So we often use the cliche that we're the Uber of home warranty, and you have to understand home warranty has not really changed for the first 50 years that it existed, and it was this traditional model of the home warranty company has a list of contractors. The homeowner has to use the home warranty company's contractor, and that's a subcontractor relationship between the homeowner and the home warranty company, and so it didn't always benefit the homeowner the way it should.
Yeah.
And so because those contractors were beholden to do what the home warranty company wants them to do, and they still do. And the founders of our company set out about 8 years ago. They had ran a traditional home warranty company for over 10 years, and they just felt like there was a better way to do things. There was a better option for not just homeowners but realtors as well. And so they founded Achosa on the core fundamental practice. The homeowner gets to choose that local contractor. So that contractor homeowner relationship, the contractor works for the homeowner. They don't work for us. We do not have any kind of relationship per se with the contractor,
Yeah.
other than receiving their diagnosis. And so we were the first ones in this space. There's a couple that have tried to emulate us. There are a couple that try and say they do what we do, but we're still pretty unique in our space. And here we are 7 years later. We've been the fastest growing home warranty company in the last 4 years.
So say that my air conditioner goes out, tomorrow. Basically, I could call whoever the heck I wanted, and that. Then I guess how does that work with you guys? Being like, do I just file a claim with you first, or do I call them first, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, and we have a flow chart that we kind of supply to clients, to the buyers for that claims process. But always file the claim with us first. Although I will say we're still probably unique in our space, and that is if the homeowner goes through the repair and then goes, oh, I got a home warranty, we'll still let them work through the claims process. We call it working backwards, but we'll let them do that. Most home warranty companies, if you've already had the work done, you're toast. Sorry,
Yeah.
but we ask that the homeowner file the claim when the contractor's in the home. Our best practice recommendation is that the homeowner gets the contractor on the phone and they're on speakerphone, so that the contractor can tell us the same thing they're telling the homeowner: what failed, why did it fail, and how much is it going to be. Then when the work's complete, there's one more phone call where the homeowner says, hey, I'm satisfied with the work, gives the phone to the contractor, and we give a contractor a credit card number over the phone for our portion of the payment. And we don't ask the contractor to take anything less than their retail rate. Whatever they normally charge is fine with us.
That's that was going to be my next question, was how do you guys handle payment? Because if they're picking their own people, obviously that's going to be different every single time.
It
It's
is.
not,
It is. Yeah.
there's no set rate for anything. So
There's not. And I'll tell you that every home warranty company has coverage limits. Some try to pretend they don't. Some play a shell game to pretend like they don't and move money around. Ours are very transparent and straightforward, and that's how we protect ourselves. We'll pay up to a certain limit, and it's kind of like dental insurance. If it's a major thing, you're going to have some out of pocket as well.
so what? I guess like, what, give me an idea of what those limits are. So like, if you is to go back, say my AC goes out, and I need, I don't know, 2 pounds of Freon. I know Freon's expensive right now.
Yeah.
What what does that look like for you guys?
So we have 4 different plans, and we've really structured our plans to help tailor them to the home. And when we say the home, it's really the age of the mechanical systems.
Okay.
And so, like on our AC coverages, our very basic economy intro plan, we have $1,000 for heat, $1,000 for AC, because typically the failure is either to one side of the system or the other.
Right.
And then it goes up in increments to 2,000, 2,500, and 3,500 on each. So the buyer can certainly tailor their plan based on their comfort level between the price of the plan or the coverage limits that they're looking for.
Okay. So then I assume there's like a deductible of some sort that you have to pay.
Yeah.
Well,
And it's one of those things we've tried to keep that simple. It's $100 on all our plans.
okay.
Yeah.
That's easy then.
Yeah. Nice round even number.
Yep. So what, I guess outside of, being able to pick your own contractor, is there anything else about your company that you would say, you guys kind of do differently?
Old times.
Yeah.
I think that not just our industry, although our industry has a really bad rap for it. Anytime a consumer thinks I've got to call a call center, the first thing that comes to their mind is like, oh my gosh, how long am I going to have to wait on hold?
Yeah.
Right. And the hold music and the hold music and the hold music and 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, right? Our call center, the short story is it's a third-party call center that's bilingual, but the owner of the call center is also a major investor in our company. When he was approached by our owners, he said, I don't want to be your call center partner. I want to be an investor. And so our partner has the incentive to make sure that we're staffed, that there's no hold times, that the people are kind and courteous, and that they do their job. And so even in the heat of summer, our hold times, we say, are less than 10 seconds, but it's, like 3.4, 4.2.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the numbers that we get on our operations updates. And so it's always, I always kind of chuckle because we say 10 seconds, because if I said 3.4, people are like, oh, you're making that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that person has a kind of a vested interest in the company then.
100%. Yeah.
Which is nice because, I mean, like you said, they have they have that interest and they want to make it the best they possibly can because their money's tied up in it too.
Yeah, our one of our owners, he constantly is saying we are a customer claims experience company, and our goal, honestly, and it's not just talk. We want a great claims experience for the homeowner. And oh, by the way, the contractor too. I mean, we
Yeah.
want this to be a win for the contractor. And ultimately that all goes back to you and the realtor community, a positive experience for you and your clients.
Yeah. Well, I know I've talked to some contractors in the past that they're like, there's no way I will work with a home warranty company because, we've had such a bad experience on getting paid and they want to knock you down for price and all that. So it's kind of nice that you guys don't, you don't do that, right?
No. And the longer that we're around, the more contractors that are like, oh, wow, I want more of those calls.
Yeah.
How do I do that? Right. Because they're getting their retail rate, they're getting paid on the spot. We're just kind of like the roommate that's not there that provides the credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of nice. If you want, I'll call you next time and I'll let you pay for mine too.
Yeah. Right.
So do you have a, crazy home warranty story that maybe you can share without getting in trouble?
Oh, well, I've been in this so long. There's so many things that come up, and you just think, okay, well, I'll never hear that again, or that's just too crazy to be real. But I was just talking to a realtor the other day about this. There was an instance and this was when I was with my former company, but it always sticks out in my mind. The homeowner moved in and they were having sewage backup problems, which is not fun, obviously.
Not at all.
No. And the short story is come to find out the home was on city water and sewer, or was supposed to be, but a homeowner along the way, and we're not sure who, buried a makeshift septic in the backyard and didn't get it connected properly. And initially we denied any kind of claim because the sewer line didn't go into the septic tank, but no one knew there was a septic tank. And the agent was mad at me, and we went round and round. I'm like, it's not supposed to be like that, right?
Yeah.
It's something that we wouldn't cover. And at the end of the day, the agent and I were fine. She ended up calling me back and said, look, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the whole situation.
Right.
But the ironic part was that happened about 6 or 7 years ago. And I just talked to an agent yesterday and dealing with the exact same, different market altogether, dealing with the exact same issue. I'm like,
Really?
that's crazy.
So how do you deal with I know you guys said that you don't cover it, but like how did they deal with that? I mean, did they just have to get a new septic system, or did they reconnect to the city, or how?
Well, I
Do
know,
you have
yeah,
any idea?
yeah. I know. I don't know what the one I talked about the other day, where it's at. I mean, obviously, I think it's not going to end well for somebody.
Right.
I know the one 6 or 7 years ago, the seller ended up getting sued, and it ended up getting reconnected to the city, the city
Yeah.
sewer. The city wasn't happy when they found out. I mean, it was a mess
Yeah.
because the city got involved and they wanted to go after the previous owner. And I never did hear if the previous owner actually was the one that did it, or if it was maybe an owner before that or something. But yeah, it was
Well, and
weird.
it's amazing that it worked for that long,
Yeah.
and it's probably one of those things where there was only like one or two people in the house, so it didn't have a whole lot going through it. And then like a family of 5 or 6 moves in, and then you have a lot more going through it. And that's when things get caught.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, well, George, to wrap this up, how do people get a hold of you?
So, cell phone or email. I mean, obviously, those are the things that are quickest and easiest.
Mm-hmm.
My number is 417-880-5513. I'm only a phone call or text away. So, interestingly enough, I'll tell you a little side note on that. When I was with my other company, I carried 2 phones. I always tell realtors one was a burner phone because realtors could be a little crazy at times and on the weekends, and there's those kinds of things.
Yep.
Although I love most all of my realtor friends. But after I switched to Achosa, I carried a burner phone for about a year and a half. And then I went, wow, this is such a better process. And I don't have realtors call me at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night because their homeowner doesn't have air conditioning. And so for the last 2.5, 3 years, I've carried one single phone. It's my personal cell phone number. that I've had for over 20 years. And so I make it available to not just the realtor community, but clients as well. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, then I will. I'll put that in my notes whenever we get this out there, and so then hopefully we can get you and your processes some more business.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining me, and I will talk to you later.
Thanks, Larry.
All right.